Hello everybody, it's Mr. Wilson here. I've had a really important request, I think, for a tutorial. I know lots of people. I've been saying, well, I like to learn how to play the guitar by playing songs. I think that's a really good way of learning to play the guitar. But I had a request from somebody who said, I really want to play the guitar, but I really don't know where to start, and I don't even know what bits of the guitar are called, and I don't know what I don't even know what you're talking about, Mr. Wilson. So I thought, well, okay, let's take it right back to basics. So that's why I'm standing up today. So hopefully we can see the guitar a bit better, and I can give you a little bit of advice about maybe if you want to buy a guitar, and I can give you some advice about how to make sure that to make sure that you want to keep on playing the guitar, because that's the most important part about practice entirely. So let's start at the very beginning. First things first. This is kind of a guitar with a solid body. With a big body like this, is called an acoustic guitar. That's our first important piece of information. You don't need to plug this into an amplifier to make it work. Some of these kinds of guitars, they do have a plug that you can plug it in to make it louder, but they will work perfectly fine without that at all. Okay, so that's the first thing. Second thing, let's have a little look at the strings. If I come in a little bit closer here. So, on my guitar, all of the strings, they are all made from metal, okay? So, it's not probably the best type of guitar to start from playing. Most guitarists, when they start playing, especially the children when they're starting to learn to play at school, they have a slightly different type of strings. They have nylon strings on the top three strings, and we always go from the thinnest string. We call it the top string, the first string, and then second, third. So on one of the guitars that maybe you might learn to play on in school, they will have nylon strings there, which are easier to press down. Metal strings, they can sound louder, but they are harder to press down, so it makes sense to use nylon strings, which are easy to press down to start with, and that's what most people start to learn on. And then they do have the bottom three strings, so strings 4, 5 and 6, they are made from nylon wound with brass usually, so that they have a slightly fuller flavour, a deeper kind of tone to them. Okay, so those are the strings. We have, if you hadn't realised already, we have got 6 strings on a guitar, and as I said before, we start from the bottom, the 6th string, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, up to the thinnest. Okay. Right, before we get we might talk a bit more about the strings in a second, let's have a little look at the actual guitar. So, this big bit, the main wooden bit here, this is the body. Then obviously we've got the strings we've talked about. The big hole in the middle, that's our sound hole. Then we have, where are we here? We have this white piece here that all the strings rest on. That is called the bridge, okay? And then we go all the way back up to the top. These are the most important parts of the guitar anyway. Your strings, they come up here, they rest on something called the nut, and they go through the nut before they go up here, and this is where they are wound, and they're wound by the tuning pegs. And the most important thing with a guitar really, unlike an electronic piano or an electronic keyboard, you have to tune your guitar, otherwise it sounds horrible. So these are really, really important. So you don't just fiddle with those just because they do turn, because if you do that, if you turn it too much, the string will either go very, very slack and it won't make the right sound, or you'll turn it too tightly and eventually the string will break. Strings on the kind of guitars that most people start to learn to play guitar on, as I said, they have nylon strings. They take a lot longer to stretch and to break. Metal ones though, especially the thinnest metal ones, sometimes they can break even when you're putting a new string on. So that's why you don't mess around with the tuning pegs unless you're really tuning it. Okay. Right. So up the top here then, this is just a note for parents really. Anyone who wants to play guitar, there are so many toys, as you could call them, to go along with your guitar. Obviously I'm standing up today, so I've got a strap. My guitar, some guitars have a peg for the strap for the strap to attach to the body there. This one doesn't, so it's attached to the end of my neck there. I've got a a little sort of like leather piece that goes on there. Otherwise, some people use a piece of shoelace to tie it onto the end of a guitar. It's up to you how you do it, really. But there's always other toys to be buying. So I think I've said in many of the videos, lots of the songs that we play, you might know the chords, what we call open chords. When we hold down, a chord is when you hold down some of the strings and then you play. So instead of just sounding like that, if I then hold down some of the strings, it makes a different sound, and that is a chord. It's when basically a chord is 3 or more notes that you're playing. And since we're playing on this, we're playing 5 of the strings. We're playing the chord of A minor, but we're playing a chord we're holding 3 of those strings down. Okay, and we're playing all of the strings. So we're playing 5 strings, 5 notes. That is a chord. Believe it or not, playing it entirely open, that is a chord as well, because you are playing more than 2 notes. You are playing 6 notes there. That is a chord. Not a chord that you'd find many guitarists using a lot of the time, but it is a chord. Right. So one of the other toys I have there, it's called a capo. They sometimes look a little bit different. Don't always have like this funky sort of like twirly bit on the top, but all they are really basically doing is that this piece here rests on the strings, and so when I squeeze it, I can squeeze it open like it's got a big mouth, and then I can put it over my guitar, over my strings. When I close it again, I have altered the pitch of the strings. Okay, I've raised the note. Normally I'd be playing the note of E with that bottom string. If I put a capo on the first fret, suddenly it changes the pitch of the note, and now I'm playing an F note rather than an E. Okay, might not need to worry about that straight away, but that's what a capo does. It basically means that it kind of makes you look a better guitarist than you really are, because you can play lots of different songs, maybe with the chords you know already, and you have to learn new chords. Lots of guitarists use it. They don't always just use it for that. They often use it because if they might be singing a song that, because just using normal open chords down here, they can't sing it. They can't sing that low, so they alter the pitch. They put the capo up here somewhere, and then they can sing it more easily. The other thing probably on here, which is far more important, is a tuner. Now these come in many different guises. This one was about £5.50, £6, something like that, from what I remember. They come with one of those. You have to get one of those little disc batteries, CR2032. That shows you how often I've had to change these batteries, because they come in. They use in all the different guitar tuners. They're used inside when I've got electric guitars that have things that need power. They're used in there as well. You don't have to replace them very, very often, as long as you remember to turn your tuner off. If you leave your tuner on, then the battery will just run down, of course. Now, this is really a note for, I know when parents, children start to learn to play a guitar, and obviously the parents think that's a really good idea, but sadly, mum, dad, whoever's looking after you, you need to know a little bit as well, just so that they don't get bored of the instrument, because if it doesn't sound very nice, then they're probably not going to play it so often. Okay, so maybe you might need to learn how to tune the guitar as well. Okay, right. The good thing about the kind of guitars that you're going to start learning on with those nylon strings, they don't need to be changed very often. Okay, a steel string guitar, some performers, they would have new strings for every performance and play several guitars and that kind of stuff. I obviously don't do that. I leave them on for a lot longer than that. But when you get old metal strings, they don't sound as good. Okay, right. So your tuner usually have a little, where are we? Little on-off button there. Okay, and then it's most of these kinds of ones, they have a little mode, and if you can see there, it's got a G for guitar. If I press the mode again, I think it's going to go to a B for bass. I'm trying to see this backwards, and then it's got a V for violin, and it's got a C for chromatic, which basically means it's going to pick up any note that you're playing whatsoever at all. You just generally, if you press it by mistake, just cycle it back through until you get back to a G. Most of the tuners like this have a similar kind of interface. Okay, even if they don't look exactly the same. Right, then we are going to, it's got a little microphone on there, so when we play a note, it's going to pick up and it's going to resonate and it's going to tell you what note we are playing. Okay. Normally, it has that kind of clip on it because most guitarists, or acoustic guitarists, I should say, really most of the time, especially when they're playing, if they don't have many guitars, if they only have one guitar, you want to keep your guitar in tune, so they often have it on the end of their guitar if they're playing a little gig, and then they can be tuning their guitar during the show. Now, I'm going to put it there for you. Right. So hopefully you can see it. So when I play the bottom string, it's going to come up and it says it's string 6 and that's E. Each string is when it's played open plays a different note. So the bottom string plays in the note of E. So it's in the red at the moment. So I am going to depend. Oh, it's just gone green again, is it maybe? Or it's because it's listening to my voice too as well. So it's a little bit flat, I think. So or a little bit sharp. So it's going a bit too aha. So I just turn it the other way. So I'm taking tiny movements to tune my guitar. And I'm making sure now, there we go, that's spot on obviously. Okay, right, I'll play the 5th string, that seems to be good. 4th string might need a little bit of attention there, a little bit, so. Yeah, I've only just turned that a tiny bit. 3rd string's okay. Oh, that one's fluctuating a little bit. So I've gone to the wrong way. Let me just, I'm trying to do this backwards as well and see it on the screen. Cool. And the top string. Okay, lovely. Alright, so that is all in tune now. Then I must just remember to turn it off. There we go. Usually on this one it's you press it twice to turn it off. Some they're just one button to turn off, but they're all pretty similar. They all come with instructions, obviously, so to make it easier. Right, so you've had a look at your guitar. You've know which bits of the guitar they are called, what the different bits of the guitar are called. Most importantly, if you didn't know before, you know how to tune up a guitar. Okay, if you have just bought a guitar, or you want to buy a guitar. Some of the metal string ones, quite nice ones, not too expensive, from Gear for Music, the number 4 online shop. They do some quite good beginner kits, just with a little acoustic guitar and with a case and that kind of stuff. The size, this obviously guitar is a full-size adult's guitar. When you're starting out, depending on how young you are when you're starting, you'd either want a 3/4 size. So if you search for 3/4 and just when you type it in, just type a 3 and then a / and a 4, and it will show you if you look on Amazon or Gear for Music, or there's loads of guitar shops online. You can obviously, you'll find them then. If your child or if is much younger and obviously a lot shorter, then they might need an even smaller guitar. There are half-sized guitars as well. Obviously, I said you can look online. Express Music, the guitar shop on Bindley Road's really good place to go to, obviously locally for us. And they'll give you all the kind of advice because obviously some like guitar shops want people to play guitars, because in the future people, if they keep on playing, they'll come back and they'll want their next guitar, a different guitar, an electric guitar, whatever it comes to. Okay. Right, last thing. When you do eventually get your guitar, if you are really interested in playing, just to start with, we're going to look at what all of the strings are called. So we have got the E string, the A string, the D string, G string, B string, or B string, and the top E string. So that is an E, and that is an E. They're just an octave apart. So it's just a higher version of the same note, basically. Okay. Okay. I am using a pick to play my guitar. Some people use their fingers. Okay, you could use your thumb to start with. Some people use a combination of their fingers. Okay, it's up to you what you want to do really. The pick, I find most people get used to playing and just holding it kind of 2 fingers one side and your thumb the other. Okay, some people use one finger one side and the thumb. It's up to you, as long as you haven't really got your whole hand and the pick, otherwise you won't be able to control it on the guitar at all. So when you have got it, just have a good go at playing each string nice and clearly. Don't worry about this hand yet. Okay, and we want to be playing it over that kind of sound hole area. If you play it too far down here, makes a funny noise. Sometimes you might want to, when you've learned to play guitar a bit, you might want it to make that kind of really tinny sound at times, but most of the time we wouldn't. We want to play it over there, and then not too far, and then not all the way over the neck either, because it's got a more sort of resonant feel to it, I suppose. But again, when you're kind of playing, if you're playing with other people, or if you're singing and accompanying yourself and stuff, this sounds better if it's there. Okay. If you get too used to doing it, if you get into the habit of doing it all the way up there somewhere, then you kind of get your hands all get sort of like muddled up together. Okay, right. I think that is just about enough for introducing you to a guitar. If you're interested in getting one, obviously, have a look at the other tutorials. Okay, and I'll do some more tutorials with really basic chords and going from there. Okay, good luck. If you haven't had a guitar and you'd like to have a try at one now, it's a fantastic hobby. Keeps you busy, especially when it's raining outside. And while we're in July, it is raining outside with me at the moment. So at least I've got something interesting to do indoors. Okay, take care, and I'll see you soon.